friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead, and it's a beautiful sunny Friday. I'm going to do some weeding, but I want to show you something. This is my oregano pot, and until a couple of minutes ago, it had weeds like that. Now, how do I know the difference between the weeds and the oregano? Well, for starters, the oregano is really, really tiny, and if you don't know and you're afraid to pull, take one little leaf. Tiny, tiny like that. Rub it between your fingers. That's oregano. So I know the difference between the oregano and the leaves. I can weed them. Here's my herb bed. I only have one leek that survived. But look, isn't that doing lovely? I started those. I started that. I started that. And this is from last year. Now, these are my home-raised tomato plants. And the only way to do this is to reach in around and just grab. Just start grabbing. When they get to this size, you can really... Hello, Mr. Basil. You can really get to grabbing them with your hands. Especially around these tomato cages where... You know, I know the weeds are small and a pain in the butt to do, but the truth is, folks, it's easier to do it after a rain and before they get any bigger. Once they get big, they get to be, their roots get much more solid. And it's a beautiful breezy day too, so hopefully I'll be safe from the bugs. All right, we'll just weed that, shove that back in there. Now look. Here is my first zucchini bed, and it's looking like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zucchini plants, and I just, you know what? They're all kind of grouped in one spot. So first, I'm just going to take the side of my thing here and kind of go in and around all the zucchini plants. I'm doing this with my phone, folks, so please forgive me. Very carefully, just in case there are other ones coming up. We're just going to kind of trowel these weeds under. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to really carefully pull up the biggest of the zucchini. Why? They don't like being transplanted, but you can do it if you take the dirt and all. I just want to make this bed a little more spread out. Oops. Yeah, there's another one coming up. So be careful, especially when they're this young. All right? So I don't know how many I said I had at first, but now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So be really, really careful when you're weeding around things that are just coming up. I'll give those 2 that I've transplanted a drink in a minute. Oh, this is another one. So, in you go. Where are we going to put you? Right here. All right. We'll leave you guys be. I'll give you a water in a minute. Now, I want to show you something. He sent me a picture and asked if this was rhubarb, the poisonous rhubarb or rhubarb. This is not rhubarb, this is burr. This is burdock. Okay? Roots, leaves, everything have a use on that. I have some volunteer, look like blackberry bushes growing out from underneath the shed, or the shop. Yeah, Gracie's going to follow me. Because this is not a place for me to come often. This is colt's foot here. That, folks, is my comfrey plant. And it is huge. This is why you plant it somewhere It seems to like the semi-shade, and you plant it somewhere that it can take over. Let's pick some comfrey leaves. I want to show you how big they are. Look at the size of this plant. There's my hand. Okay? So I'm going to take some of the lower large leaves, and I'm just going to snap them off. No, Gracie. And that's all I'm taking into the house, and this gets to go to flower and spread another year. Here's our little volunteer tomato plant, and it's coming right along with the others. There's the one Gracie dug up. I'm not too sure it's going to make it. Now, I know I said these would go from fruit to flower in about 2 months, but these, or flower to fruit I mean, but these are a little too small to be bearing fruit yet. So we're just going to pinch off these blossoms and give the plant more time to grow. That's where the term green thumb comes from. People picking off growth to let the plant grow. Look at that bug. Isn't that the prettiest bug you ever saw? This is my watermelon bed, and I'm not touching these weeds because I don't see any watermelon plants yet. When I do, then I'll be able to weed around them. There's the bins we just planted. Now these 2 boxes are my home grown pepper plants, started from seed. And as you can see, this box looked very much like that box. And all I have done, as like I did elsewhere, is just kind of scrape the soil around, because they're really too tiny to actually pick and weed. But if you disturb the roots, then most of them are going to die. And what doesn't die, we can pick when it's bigger. This kind of gets it down to manageable levels. Now again, these are my baby pepper plants, and I am taking the blossoms, I'm taking the blossoms off of them because they're too small and they need to grow some more. And we'll be careful not to dig up any of the Spanish onion plants that we've put in here. Now, all I have done is really just loosened up the weeds. I have an idea how I'm going to help these celery plants do bigger. All right, it's Saturday. Now here's something I thought of in my sleep last night. Here's another use for your store flyers. Even though we tell the post office we don't want them, we still get them sometimes. So what I've done is I've ripped strips. I did some weeding on this yesterday, and I ripped strips of newsprint, not the shiny kind. And I put it all around and in between my celery. This does 2 things. It helps, like I've weeded a lot of it, but it helps as a bit of a weed barrier while these continue to grow. It also helps keep moisture in the beds when it rains. Another use for your store circulars. As you can see, I planted marigolds around my cabbage plants to deter the cabbage moth. Now, these are not set and go, folks. Deadhead your marigold plants. Why? Because there is seeds in the heads. Okay? So I'm going to go around and deadhead my marigolds because you want the marigolds to continue to grow, but you also want to reseed anything and only pick the really, really dead ones, right? You want to reseed these marigolds. The more marigolds, the better your cabbage will grow and stay healthy. Finished deadheading them all. I just work up the soil to disturb the roots of the weeds and bury in our extra marigold seeds. There. My back tomatoes are now caged up. Poor buggers. They must think they're in prison, but believe it or not, they appreciate it. Now, this is a better angle to see my onions because of the way the sun is. And so Tomorrow I will be weeding between these, or I might let them get a little bit bigger. And, oh, I can't touch the squash beds yet because they're not coming up. And I found another tree bucket. So I just filled it from our dirt pile and poked some spinach seeds in there to keep the Swiss chard company. It's going to rain. Time to go in. Now with the pool pump running, it doesn't, you know, it is a drain on our electric. So here's how I squeeze a few quarters. This is my rebar on hooks. And I just did a load of wash. And I got my drying rack. And my lights up. And tomorrow I'll do the darks. This is the Miss Wolfie from our half-acre homestead. And that's what I did today. And that's how I made the elk fart. Take care, God bless. Our quarters have elks on them. And mine farted a beaver today.